God will do something with on earth, there are two dimensions the man will operate to enjoy. Number one, he must enjoy the sustenance dimension of God. What is the sustenance dimension of God? It's the dimension that God will not give you abundance. You will not have too much, but all God will give you with things to keep you going, so that you will not die on the way. Because there's a place He's taking you to. When the Lord led me from Port Harcourt in 2022, I had everything. I left my house, my property. The Lord give it to that boy. That boy that want to get married that doesn't have a house, give it to him. So I called him, I gave it to him. I said, you're going to pay me something. He gave me small money, he didn't give me the rest. Till today, he didn't give me. I left him because I know the Lord has said leave it for him. Me, it was me that he went to go and collect something. And I went to Wukari in Taraba State in the northeast, where I knew nobody. I didn't know anybody. I have never been there before. I have no understanding of the terrain. I don't know anybody. And so while I'm there, some days I will lack. It is God that sent me there. I was there by the instruction of God. I left my friends, my church, my everybody I knew here. You know me there. And then I left. I went to the northeast to a place where I knew nobody. And so while I'm there, some days I will not have money to eat. But some days I say, please, I beg, can I get 5,000? Somebody will send me 5,000. Sometimes we want to have communion in fellowship. So I started having fellowship. We started organizing fellowship under the tree. This ministry started under the tree in the northeast. So every Sunday we'll organize fellowship under the tree. I'll gather the children, women, play music in their dialect, Christian song in their dialect. They will dance and dance. I'll share the word of God. Somebody will be interpreting for me. And then at the end of the day, I'll share Zobo. They like Kunu very well there. They like Kunu very, very well there. And then I usually give one woman money to do Kunu. So the children know. Some of them will just even come and say that they know that at the end of this fellowship, Kunu go there. And then anytime I have more money, there are women that will give on and say, today, let's prepare rice for this weekend. And they'll prepare rice. There, I was living in one room. I was sleeping on the floor. This is me. I have a bed in Port Harcourt. I have everything and I left it. And I was sleeping. Doesn't mean that God has forgotten about me there. No. Because what He's giving me at that time was just what to sustain me. Because there's a level He's taking me to. At that season, I must learn all the lessons in that season of sustenance. Otherwise, I'll not be able to enter my season of abundance. It is my towel that I was using as blanket. And that place is cold. From night I'll wake up and cry. What is this nonsense? What are you doing with me? But God was taking me somewhere. And so that period I was in a season, it was my season of sustenance. No abundance yet, but it was something to keep me going, to keep me going, to keep me going. If God is working with you, He will never show you the ending from the beginning. He will take you through process. The problem is that many believers don't like process. They just want magic. They want God to do child magic for them. No, and God doesn't work that way. And so sometimes I ask people, say, can I get 5,000? I'll call some people in Port Harcourt, can I get something? And they will give me 5,000. Some will say they don't get. Some days I will turn hunger into fasting. But God sent me there. Did He forget me there? No. I fast, I'll turn it some days. Because there is no curry, I'll have to gather the remaining one inside the nylon. I know that if I suck it, it will not satisfy me. So I'll chew it. When I chew it and chew it as well, then I'll drink water. You know when you do it, it will not fill my belly small. You know when hunger hits you, you develop statistics and skills. Are you following me? But it is sustenance. There are days of 10,000, there are days of 5,000, there are days of 50,000. God was just keeping me going because there's something He wants to show me. And if I don't understand or learn the lesson during the days of sustenance, I will never be able to understand what He's doing in the days of abundance. This is why some people spend too much time in the season of sustenance. Even though their season of abundance has come, they don't take advantage of it. Are you following me? There are two young men of God reached out to me recently. One is in either Jos or Bauchi. The other one is in Ondo State or something like that in the West. And the one is, I said, sir, I'm sorry, sir. Apostle, I'm sorry, sir. Please, I'm losing my faith. We have programmed this weekend and I don't have money. I don't have anything. How do I carry this program? I don't have it. And I used to see the exploit this young man used to do. If I hear some people that he has mentored, he used to send them to go to school for mission work. I laughed. I said, sometimes ago I was in your position. What you are going through now is a season. You are in a season of sustenance. God will not give you abundance now. There are things He wants you to learn now. So I sent him 15,000. He was happy. Another time he asked me, I gave him 10,000. I said, you will not be able to come to the help of people in a situation where you have never been to. If you have never been in a particular situation, you don't know what it feels like for somebody. If I've never been in that situation as all these men, you are there, come and look for a job. But because sometimes ago, me too, I was there in that situation where I have to call people and say, help me with 10K, help me with 5K. But God was still with me there. The problem is that at that time, He was only supplying my need, not my wants, not my desires. Does it mean that is where He's going to be for the rest of his life? No. He's still in a season of sustenance. God will only give him what can carry him through day by day, but not abundance yet. The other one reached out to me from the West and said, sir, my rent is 27,000 and my landlord is embarrassing me. I'm a young minister. He showed me his flyer. I went through his page. I said that truly he's talking the truth. But he said 27,000. Help me, sir. So I said, how much do you have? He said, I have 8,000. I said, go send me your account. But then I sent 10,000 to it. He says, and because of shame, I had to leave home very early so that my landlord will not wake up to meet me in the house. Are you following me? Those guys are not abandoned, even though they are serving God. Why? They are only there for a season. They are in their season of sustenance. You are here, you think God has abandoned you. Know you are in a season. God is taking you to a season of abundance, but you must pass through a season of sustenance. If you don't enjoy, if you don't learn the lesson in the days of sustenance, when the period of abundance comes, you'll not be able to apply wisdom to enjoy it. This is why some people, the moment God begin to bless them, they'll backslide. You will not see them in church again. Because the wealth, the money gets into their head. They didn't learn any lesson through the days of their sustenance. The days of sustenance is to teach you a lesson that will prepare you for the days of abundance.